Bristol International Speedway, with its wide sweeping high bank turns, is the fastest half mile and one of the most challenging tracks on the NASCAR circuit. This annual Southeastern 500 announces the first big race of the year for Bristol, and the crowds swarm in by the thousands. Pole sitter Cale Yarborough, driving the Junior Johnson prepared Chevrolet number 11, was the fastest qualifier at 107.608 miles per hour. Cecil Gordon started alongside in another Chevy. Buddy Baker and Cuckoo Marlin are in the second row. Richard Petty and Bobby Allison fill out the third row, with Bobby Isaac and Donnie Allison starting right behind in the fourth row. It's a 30-car field that moves around on the parade lap in perfect two-abreast formation. Out of the fourth turn, drivers wind them up. There's the green, and they're off. Gordon are side by side at the start, but Yarborough breaks that duo up when he stands on it coming out of the fourth turn and fires into the lead at the end of the first lap. 14, Cuckoo Marlin is third. 71, Buddy Baker fourth, and Bobby Allison in car 12 is running fifth. Yarborough is running so strong, he's going to pass his own shadow. Junior Johnson has set up winning cars at this track before, but none have looked as good as this Monte Carlo. Baker, Allison, Petty, and Isaac have begun to pick up the pace now in an effort to catch Cale. If they maintain these speeds, there'll be some arm-weary drivers at the end of this race. The 11 Chevy, Cale Yarborough, is already passing and blowing the doors off the slower cars. He's driving this race like a 10-lap dash. Now, the ominous sky that's been threatening all day has just shed a few drops of water. If it keeps up, they'll have to stop. On the 52nd lap, the red flag came out, and the race was officially stopped, and the sky opened up, resulting in a cancellation and postponement of the race for 2 weeks. Sundays later, the cars were back. The drivers returned, and the spectators jammed in again. But the skies didn't look one bit more promising. Nonetheless, it was dry, and that's all they needed. The officials declared that the race would resume from where they left off, on the 52nd lap, and with the cars in the same positions as they were in when the red flag was thrown. That puts 11 Yarborough in front, 14 Marlin second, 15 Bobby Isaac third, 71 Baker is fourth, and Petty fifth. Here they are out of the fourth turn, and the 2-week rain-delayed restart is underway. Cale didn't forget how as he bounds out into the early lead once again. Number 44, Eddie Bond, who blew it in the fourth turn and spun right down the main straight in front of the grandstands. Drivers took advantage of the yellow flag for necessary pit stops, were out quickly for the green flag, and the race was underway again. Cale screams his Chevy into the lead once again. Junior Johnson must have set this car up with a computer. It's handling perfectly, exactly as it did 2 weeks ago when the race was canceled due to rain. There's no guesswork with these car builders. They're professionals from start to finish. Isaac and Petty hold down the second, third, and fourth spots, but Cale seems to be stretching them on every lap. Cecil Gordon, one of the front runners, limping down pit row. His crew discover engine troubles and park the car behind the wall out of the race. Meanwhile, Cale Yarborough is about to lap some of the faster cars. In the second turn, he passes Petty. Later, Yarborough punches past Bobby Allison's Coke machine, number 12. This track belongs to Cale, and he takes them high or low. Suddenly, it's a loose wheel right down the main straight, off the right front of Dean Dalton's number 7 Mercury. He dives behind the wall and is okay, but the wheel is still rolling. This brings out another yellow flag. One of the most dangerous things at a racetrack is a loose wheel. A car can strike it and send it flying in any direction. The leaders decide to let the wheel have the track, and they head for pit row. Back on the track, the flagman drops the green, and they're off again. Cale resumes his battle with Bobby Allison, then whips past him as they come down off the high bank second turn. Back chute. Petty quickens the pace and slides around Buddy Baker on the high side. Richard is running third now behind second place contender Bobby Allison. Entering turn 3, the Monte Carlo slides past Bobby Isaac. Now Cale Yarborough has at least one full lap lead over the rest of the field. And if he can keep the rubber band from breaking, he might end this race an hour early. Petty pours it on, pulls up alongside Bobby Allison, and finally passes him to take over the second place spot. Look out! That was a bad one. Number 71, Buddy Baker's steering went out on him, entering turn 3. He'd lost control and hit the wall head on. After careening off the guardrail, and with no steering whatsoever, he smashed into Cuckoo Marlin's number 14 Chevrolet. Miraculously, both drivers are all right. The caution light is on, and pit row is alive with action. The front end of Buddy's Charger is totaled out, and Harry Hyde and the crew have it towed behind the wall. With the track cleaned up, the cars fly under the green flag, and the 6th restart is off and underway. Cale Yarborough is still doing a sensational job, giving the fans a real demonstration of driving skill. And to aspiring young race car builders, this Chevy is the epitome of performance and handling ability. The Dodge, number 43, driven by Richard Petty, is second, with number 12, Bobby Allison, in the Coke machine, third. Number 54, Lenny Pond, lost it through the turn. Went on a long straightaway spinner, ending up against the inner guardrail. He's all right and drives the car off toward pit road. Meanwhile, Cale Yarborough continues to scream his Chevy toward the checkered flag. With 499 laps under his belt, Cale explodes his Chevy under the white flag. He's led this one from the very start. And I think that even if the engine blew right now, he has enough of a lead to coast home in front of the field. There it is. The checkered flag falls on Cale Yarborough and the Junior Johnson Chevrolet. Second place goes to Richard Petty. Bobby Allison takes home the third place money. A happy Cale Yarborough drives into victory lane. Due to rain, it took him 2 weeks to win the Southeastern 500. And that's nothing compared to the long, dry spell he had racing with USAC. But he's home now. And this race just shows you what red gravy, black-eyed peas, and grits can do for a Southern.